everybody.
Oh man, we're just
to
jumping
Legacy
in like
Podcast.
that.
We're just
Okay.
jumping in like that, man, because we're having a good conversation. And the minute we let that conversation go, it's supposed to be recorded as a testimony.
All right.
You know, so
Let's do it.
Welcome to Legacy Podcast. First one of 2026.
Whoa.
So
okay.
We're starting the year right, man. I appreciate you for coming in here today.
Yes, sir. I'm honored.
Bryan Clark.
Yes, sir.
Every time I say your last name, I think of Superman.
That's right. Well, that's
And then you got the gains.
That's what they call me. It's funny because when a lot of my day to day, I talk to real estate agents, and I'm trying to make an introduction, trying to build a relationship, and they're like, okay, let me save your name in my phone. What was your name again? I say it's Bryan, Bryan. Okay, what's your last name? And I always say Clark, like Superman, and I'm here to save the day.
Dude,
super cheesy, but
when you told me your lesson, I'm like, nah. In my mind, I'm like, no, he's being serious. It is Clark. I'm like, okay.
My brother,
I gotta lock it in like that.
My brother is getting ready to have his first kid, and he is going to name him Kent Clark. So on all his legal documents,
no way,
it'll show up as Clark.
No way.
I know. Yeah, my family's trying to talk him out of it.
Dude, I mean, you had the chance to do it. I mean, you gotta run with it.
I guess
you gotta do it.
Yeah.
Would you name your kid Kent Clark?
I would not. I had a best friend. I hope he doesn't see this because we're still homies. But I had a good friend growing up whose dad's name was Kent. Awesome guy, super successful, but it is the most redneck name I could possibly think of. No offense to anybody.
No offense to nobody. But dude, Riverside. Obviously, we're in this amazing city, and there's a lot of things that are changing in the city of Riverside. And from what I talked to you in the past, I know that you made Riverside your home. You left. You went to LA. You came back. But one of the things that I really like your branding in social media is the Tatted Realtor.
Tatted Agent.
The Tatted Agent. How did that came up in Riverside, California? The Tatted Agent. We're building businesses here. We're setting up our roots here. How did you came up with that? Obviously, the tattoos.
Yeah. That's a good question. I maybe a little over a year ago was with this brokerage, and they were really heavy on your brand, and I just kept thinking, what's my brand? I was with this team. Shout out Mike Ramirez, MR Real Estate. So he could use his initials, MR. So he was Mr. Real Estate. I thought that was super cool. And I was laying in bed one night just thinking, what do I got? What do I got to work with? And when I came into real estate, I actually had this insecurity because of my tattoos that people were just going to like come into an open house and turn around and leave. This is not the house for us. Who's this guy? Yeah. And that was a limiting belief that I had on myself, was that people aren't going to want to work with me because of the way that I look. How can you trust a professional that looks like I do? And obviously I know more about myself than they do, and I'm judging myself from my past and everything. But I had come to a turning point and said, you know what, this works for me, and this is what I got. And somehow the Tatted Agent came to mind, and I just did it and went with it, and got it on my business cards.
That's a good one, though, man. And the content that you're creating is pretty good, man. I've been paying attention to the one where you're making yourself short.
RV Cribs.
RV Cribs.
like MTV Cribs, but RIV Cribs, Riverside.
That's Riverside Cribs. And I like that about you, that you're not taking yourself too serious. You're having fun when you're creating the content.
Yeah.
And I think that's one of the issues that a lot of people have when they're creating content is they put a facade that they're not really themselves. And I went through that stage too, as I'm creating content and I'm trying to figure it out. But at the end of the day, you're having fun with it, man.
Yeah.
And one of the things that I like about creating content is not necessarily, and I said this before, it's not because I want to go viral, it's because I want to have a library of videos for my daughter. So when the time when the Lord calls me, they're going to have so much videos to go back and look at it, but you're doing it the same thing, and you're having fun with it, and you're reaching out to the public, man. So what was when you started to create content, were you comfortable? Were you uncomfortable?
Very uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Absolutely. But I just started doing it. Growing up, my best friend and I would mess around on Mac computers with GarageBand, music editing software, and then iMovie. And we were in 8th grade, so we would mess around and make movies and upload our videos. And so I had, growing up, had a ton of experience with that. So when I got into real estate and I downloaded CapCut, because the brokerage I was with was really big on content too, I already had an semblance of how to edit videos somewhat, and just kind of started somewhere. And I have crazy ADHD, and I get so bored by typical real estate content, where they're talking about the numbers and this and
they're showing up the house
and it's not that stuff is extremely important. As a consumer, you want to know those things.
But as content,
but if that's your entire profile, it's just not me,
Yeah.
and I cannot be anything but myself. I have to be authentic, unapologetically, and unabashed myself. And I was like, if I'm going to do this, I want to have fun with it, to show people that real estate doesn't have to be so scary and serious
the video
all the
that
time.
keeps on coming up to my head, sorry to interrupt you, is the one that you're going on the grass and you're just coming up from the grass. Which one's that one? You just posted that one. You're like hiding underneath all the grass at the house.
Oh yeah. we were just at this listing, super beat up, and I was just kind of walking around and just filming for fun and just seeing if any good content would come out of it. And I just saw the weeds and the grass were so high, and I just dove in and started crawling around.
People gotta go and watch that video. Your personality on that video reminds me of two different characters, different movies. Ace Ventura.
Okay.
And then the guy from the Snakes that goes like that.
Oh, you're talking about here at Globo, Jim.
Yeah,
we're better than you, and we know it. Yeah, dodgeball.
Yeah, dodgeball.
Yeah.
It's like the combination of the dodgeball character and then Ace Ventura. I'm like, oh my god, dude.
Ben Stiller's character. I
Yeah.
love that movie. I used to watch that movie in like 5th grade. I'd call up my buddy Zach, and we would watch it and recite the lines together while we were watching it synced up. That's funny. I'm glad that you said those two guys, because I thought you were going to say Smeagol from Lord of the Rings for a second.
No. You're way cooler. You're way cooler. But that's why right away when I saw that video, I'm like, dude, this guy looks like that character from Dodgeball, and he's acting just like Ace Ventura. Like, dude, this is awesome content.
Yeah.
And I personally, I thought it was awesome. And that's what I'm saying is you're having fun with what you are doing, which is if you're creating content, yes, you want to use it to promote your business, but have fun with it. But I think you should have that in mind, is this is content that if you do have a family, they're going to see that at some point. So if you want your kids to see you doing a random dance, handle it. But if you want to do cool stuff like what you're doing, keep on doing it, man.
Yeah.
I always wanted to ask you, and I think I did ask you, going back to the tattoos, when I saw you at the gym, when we're at the sauna. I'm not checking you out. I'll make that clear. I'm not checking you out. But I noticed your tattoos that got my attention, all of the Egyptian art that you have on your body. You mind if I ask you, how did you come up with the Egyptian art? What was it that you like about the Egyptian past? I'm also going to kind of give you a heads up. I'm going with this because our relationship with God. And obviously we know the role that the Egyptians play at the time.
Yeah.
So that's why I'm always being curious. It's like when I used to see him, like, I wonder if he sees it from the perspective of, man, these guys put a lot of headache into the people of Israel. But then I wonder if he's like, maybe he just likes the culture.
Yeah.
You get me?
Yeah, it's a good question. And to be honest, there's not like some crazy profound story behind it. When I was in my 20s, just really started to enjoy the symbolism and very much the culture, mostly the mystery behind it.
Yeah, there's a lot of
because the information that we do have of how they did what they did is pretty limited, and it leaves so much room for just exploring your own thoughts. I wonder what happened, and there's all these ideas that the Anunnaki came and gave them this technology to build. And, I remember one guy, I've got this Anubis tattooed right here. This guy said Anubis was actually an alien race that came, and there's all these crazy ideas about what they did. And that's what I got really fascinated with, and then just started covering my body with it and read a lot of books. When I was a kid, got to go see King Tut when he visited LA.
Oh, you did? You saw that? I always been wanting to go see that exhibit.
My mom was an art teacher at a continuation high school for 30 years here in Riverside, and she taught a lot of Southwestern art styles, and then here and there'd be some Egyptian stuff, and I always latched onto that because I just thought it looked really different compared to all the other mythology that's out there from different cultures. That one I just really clung on to. So anyways, I just kept going with it, and it kind of tells a little bit of my story and where I was at in my life. And then I got to this point where my life started to take a shift. And we talked about my past with drugs and alcohol and getting sober, and as I got sober, I began to shift more towards Jesus, because I got into the rooms of Alcoholics Anonymous, and they really press on you this idea of having a higher power and for me. I knew that was Jesus Christ, but I was so far from that relationship. It took me several more years to come back around to where I'm at now. And I got to a point where I realized, man, my body is covered in false gods and idols. And it shook me for a while. And I really had these thoughts about, do I do the blackout? You know, people are doing this thing now where they have all these tattoos from their past that mean things that aren't important to them anymore, or they've changed and they just black out their body. And I said, you know what? Posture of the heart. God knows exactly who I am. No, and He knows that He's the only God.
Amen.
That's important to me, and the only God that I have a relationship. And I never had a relationship with any of these gods, but they did hold space in my heart and in my mind, and there was quite an obsession there, if I'm being completely honest. And I said, you know what? This is a powerful tool for my testimony. And, you know, that's exactly how we met, was shirtless in the men's locker room, sweaty, and, you know.
Sweaty from the sauna, because I wasn't even working out.
So, and it started the conversation.
Exactly.
And that's so cool. And I still get to use that from time to time, and people ask me, and that's, you know, at the forefront of the conversation, is that this is, you know, part of who I used to be. It is very much a part of who I am now. And it's a great lead into, and that's just the best thing,
is you've embraced your testimony, you've embraced your past. You know, when you went through the process of, man, should I black it out, should I remove all these things, and that's the Lord telling you, no, because this is why I needed you to go through this, because you're going to be able to connect with so many people that are looking for me, that they don't know me, and you were there, you didn't know me, you didn't understand maybe at the time what it meant of false gods, because you didn't see it with that perspective. You said because you enjoy the culture of that time. But now that you know God, you understand, and this is helping you to reach out to so many people, man. So there's no reason for you to feel like you have to cover it up because of your body, the way you look. A lot of people are going to come and they're going to meet Christ through you, man.
Yeah.
And you're doing it already. You're leading an amazing group of men. You're doing the walk here in Riverside. So your body is your testimony. You know, and that's why God made you go through that, just like He made me go through my testimony. Because I also, and I shared this with you, and I shared with people, I also dealt with that, with problems with drugs. When I used to play music, I was doing a lot of different stuff, but that was my past, and that was my testimony. But that has allowed me to share my new life now that I found Christ. It's like, it's okay. I mean, God still loves us. It's like what you said. He knows the inside of my heart, you know. So the thing is, people don't know our heart. They know what they see. And when we embrace how we look like, and we are allowed to people to come to us, man, the Lord's going to work through us quite a bit, man.
Amen.
You know, so when was it that you started to feel in your life, okay, I need to change my life, I need to meet Christ? Because you said there was a past. There was drugs, there was alcohol, there was all that we all experienced it. But how old are you when you started to feel God calling you to say, hey, there's another life, let me show you this side of it? How old were you?
I was...
And how old are you now?
Yeah, you never ask a woman her age. I'm just kidding. I'm a man. I'm definitely a man. Sorry.
This is not scripted. We don't have a teleprompter here. He asked me, hey, dude, what are we going to talk about? I'm like, dude, I don't know. We'll figure it out. But this is what I'm saying. This is uncensored.
This is good. Beep. We like uncensored. And again, you know, I'm just going to be myself. And, you know, I'm in my Jesus era right now. I'm 33. So, yeah. So trying to make my way off this planet this year, hopefully, but we'll see what happens. No, I'm just kidding.
Don't say that. Don't say that. That's a joke, everybody. We need you here, man.
So, well, my hopes in that is that, you know, God will come back and, you know, take me home, but...
He will.
Yeah,
at
eventually.
The right time. At the right
see.
time. It's not your time yet.
So,
You're not getting out that easy, man.
Yeah, I know, seriously. Yeah. There's work to be done for sure.
Yeah.
I really started to feel and see a call on my life when I want to say it was 29. It was about maybe 28. It was in 2021. You know, I was still trying to figure out sobriety, you know, and just for a reference of time, in 2017 is like when I really, really started trying to get help with the drugs and the alcohol and just all the insane, terrible habits that I had, and the cleanup on aisle 5 that was my life. And fast forward to 2021, you know, in that span of 4 years, I've done nothing but get sober for a few months, relapse, get sober, relapse. And I really, really struggled with this deeply rooted obsession with the drugs and the alcohol. And they were on my mind constantly. I always thought that someday, some way, somehow, I'd be able to just come home on a Tuesday night and, you know, bust out a bag of cocaine and a Four Loko and just relax and put on a movie. And it's just insane. Like normal people don't think like that. That's not on the agenda for a Tuesday evening. You know, it's like chicken Parmesan and, you know, Sons of Anarchy or something. and so in 2021, I was dating this girl, and she just had this beautiful faith, and she would invite me to church. And I still lived in LA, and so when I would come down on the weekends here and there, it was not very consistent. She would invite me to church sometimes, and I was really stubborn about it. And you know, she'd say, "You want to come to church with me?" And be like, put my foot down a little bit and say, "Well, I'm not going to stand up during worship." You know, and she'd say, "I don't care. Just come, just be there." And so that was a seed that was planted. You know, and I grew up in the faith. I went to a private Christian school my whole life. I had 2 parents that, you know, took me to church. But I just fought it tooth and nail, and, you know, very much wanted to experience the world at my own pace, at my own taste. And after I graduated, just, you know, was off to the races. So, you know, her and I dated. We ended up, you know, breaking up, and I didn't really have much of a faith foundation, and kind of went back out. I was still trying to figure out sobriety. I was still sober, but I went back out and kind of experienced the world in other ways, with other deviances that I had. And they did not serve me well, as it does, and as we are warned. And I got to another rock bottom. And then in 2022, I had another relapse, and that was my last relapse. And it was all kind of came to this screeching halt, where I was like, man, I keep repeating the same things over and over and over, and they continue to be more and more catastrophic. My last relapse should have seen me off this planet for sure. Like, I should have overdosed, and I didn't. So 2022 was a huge turnaround for me, and I was heartbroken. I was spiritually bankrupt and emotionally, and just didn't really know what I was doing with my life. But I knew the turning point was just I had to start being more honest with who I was and where I was at. And 2023, I started attending a church out here while I was still living in LA, and I started serving. And I knew, I said, God,
you were serving at that point already? You were starting to serve?
Yes.
That's cool.
Because I knew that's the only way I'm going to meet people. I have to get in front of them and start having conversations and push myself outside of my comfort zone. That's not something that I want to do, but I'm tired of the results that I have been getting up to this point, and I don't have much of a Christian sphere in my life. And that's not to bag on my friends that don't believe or aren't in church, but I knew that if I wanted to go in the direction that God was calling me, I had to have those type of people in my life. And I moved back to Riverside in 2024, and I was really scared. I was really scared, Tony, because I've had friends in the sober community that moved short distances, an hour is not very far, and they did not make the effort to plug themselves back into a community that they could surround themselves with to help them continue to stay sober. And they fall apart, they relapse. I've had friends die, and it's very sad to watch, and I did not want that to be me. And I said a very short, humble prayer: God, would you just put people in my life, people that can lead me, people that can teach me, people I can go to church with, people I can socialize with, and then on the flip side, people that I can lead, people I can teach. And it was just boom, you know, the floodgates started opening. And very, very shortly after that, when I moved to Riverside, I was asked to be part of a men's ministry at Sandals and Woodcrest, started meeting guys there. And from serving, started making friends, started going to church with some friends, and it was just this slow but gradual snowball effect. And then in the last 8 months, it's like I can't even keep up with it sometimes. You know, in the church I'm at now, I switched to their Hunter Park campus, meeting this other gentleman who wants to embark on some ministry adventures, and you know, just grabbing it by the horns and saying, yeah, let's go. Man,
it's awesome how he's opened up all these doors, man. He answered your prayer. Surround me by people that are going to lead me to Christ. And it's funny how it comes back to Riverside. Why do I say that's funny? Same thing happened with me. You know, for a long time, I always asked God, let me find a city in which I can set my roots. Now, remind you, the business started in Arcadia, so I used to live in Azusa. And then we moved the business to Yorba Linda, and I was living in Chino Hills. And 3 years ago, you know, I always knew that Yorba Linda wasn't going to be my ending spot. But I will ask God, what city is it that you need me to be in? Because I am tired of being a nomad. I'm tired of going back and forth. And I didn't want to move to Riverside. Riverside wasn't a place that I ever thought about moving in here. My brother has been living here for the past 10, 15 years. So one day, as my wife and I were starting to look, okay, let's move out of the apartment that we're living in Chino Hills at the time. And we started to look at houses. We went in, and we're still renting a house. So we found this place in Riverside. We drove to the house on Mother's Day, okay? And we can't go in because the landlord is Mother's Day. She says, just go through the backyard and look at the house. We literally walk into the backyard, and the house just felt like, this is the place. If you open up your heart, if you accept what I'm showing you, there's great things coming for you. But then I'm telling my wife, I don't want to move past the 15. I want to stay west of the 15. I will say this, dude, if I'm moving east of the 15, I might as well move to Texas. Why do I say to Texas? We have the business in Texas too. So to me, I can pick up the business and start in San Antonio tomorrow if I want to. I have an office there. And I always wanted to leave California. And the reason why I stayed here is because of my dad was sick. So I was just waiting for my dad to take his last breath. I was ready to be in a plane to Texas the minute my dad took his last breath. We didn't. The Lord knows what he's doing. And then, okay, we come in, we looked at the house. And then the following day, she comes and opens up the doors to the house. And she tells us, you know what, guys, on paper, I would love for you guys to be our tenants. And I'm fighting. I'm like, I don't fucking want to do this. I don't want to be here. But then the minute we walked into the house, it's just the feeling of the Holy Spirit, literally. You know how that feels. When he's present, the peace that he gives you. And the minute we just looked at the house, I didn't even walk through. I just said, we'll take it. Wendy looks at me, she's like, I thought you didn't want to be here. I didn't want to be in Riverside. I don't know. Like, it feels right. So we took it. We moved in. 3 years later, now I was Catholic, kind of like on the process of trying to figure out, this is 3 years back, trying to figure out, okay, how do I build a stronger relationship with God? Because I was already building a relationship with him, but I was missing the church. You know, the part that tells us is you gotta gather with a group of people to help you grow on your relationship with God. You've gone through it. I fought to go to. One day when we moved in here, 5 months later, I said, let's try Christian church. Okay, my wife always been supportive. Okay, let's go. So we went to the Grove. I felt different walking into that church. The message sounded so different compared to how I grew up Catholic. Nothing against the Catholic religion. But I think that it's not about the religion. It's about the relationship with the Lord. And to me,
that's right.
He spoke to me directly on a Christian church. So that's when I started to feel like, okay, maybe this is not so bad. Because I was fighting to go to church. I was fighting to be a part of a community. The minute we moved to Riverside, I started to fall in love with the thought of being part of a church. So the growth felt really big for me. It was a big church. We went there for 2-3 months, and I met Mark Meneses. We started to build a cool relationship, and I tell him, you know what church do you go to? We started talking about God. That's another brother in Christ, Mark. And he started telling me, you know what, I go to Sandos Palm Avenue. I've been going there because it's a smaller campus, and I really appreciate it. So I tell my wife, let's go check out this campus. Let's go see what's about it. And 3 years into it now, we've been going to that place. Now, this morning, I woke up at 4:30. By 6 a.m., I was at church for our men's Bible study group. And then I noticed that I started to take my family to the group with, what's his name, Jesse. Not the men's group, but that's like a couples group. We were going all the way to Corona. But I find myself doing things that I never did before. Going to church, taking my family to go to Bible study, bringing my daughters, just like, who's this guy? But that didn't happen until I moved to Riverside. Like, there's something about Riverside that I always say this is, Christ is present. Because you have a lot of people that are believers. You have a lot of people that they're not shy to talk about their relationship with God. And I don't want to talk bad about any other city, but I don't know if it was like that when you were living in LA, you know? And I would imagine that because I lived in certain areas, and me playing music before in the LA scene, is the opposite of it. It's the drugs.
Yeah.
It's the alcohol. It's the one night stands. Like I came from that lifestyle, man, to now Riverside again. And you said it the same thing as you moved to Riverside, and now all of these things started to happen.
Everything changed. Yeah.
Everything changed.
And I knew, a few years ago, I think starting in about 2022, when I started dating this girl, she lived here in Riverside, and it was kind of it put some distance between us, and so the wheels kind of started turning mentally for me. Okay, well, this looks like it might get serious, and maybe I want to move back to Riverside, and then it started to become more of a plan. Like, okay, I need to shift careers. I want to move back to Riverside because I want to take this thing more seriously. And then when we broke up, it was boom, this bomb blew up, and I was like, okay, I think Riverside's off the table. But while her and I were dating, I was a little confused, but I think there was still a lot of distance between me and the Lord too. And I can now say I did feel the calling then that I was supposed to be back here in Riverside. My parents are getting up there in age and have had some health events unfold over the years, and my mom's not in the best shape, and my dad is her full-time caretaker. So I hit the pause button on God's plan and watched my life get, less and less enjoyable. And yeah, LA just took a toll on me, and I noticed I would come down on the weekends to visit my family, and I would physically feel more energy, more joy, and way better. And then I'd go back to LA, and I would wake up the next day and just feel this pressure, like a force on my body. Yeah. And it took me months to unpack that and finally realize, okay, I need to go back to Riverside. And man, I'm glad that I did. And I had no idea why or what was going to happen or the reasons for me coming back here, other than I needed to be closer to my family. And that has been another huge avenue for me recently that God has called me down, is, ministering to my family. And, they brought me up in it, and I don't think they're going to listen to this, so I feel comfortable saying it, but they will.
We're going viral.
they've had some distance in their faith over the years as they've gotten older, and I can see that, and they spend a lot of time indoors. They don't do a whole lot. They're not part of a church. I can't remember the last time I saw them pray or read a Bible, and I started to feel really convicted that I wasn't doing anything to share my faith with them. And I sat down.
You're sharing your faith with everybody else, but what about your family?
Yes.
Those that are closest to you.
And I felt like a fraud. Because I spend so much time in church, in groups where I'm speaking into guys that need help, and just very bold about it. And then I come home and these walls come up. And that was a huge battle I had to work through. When I was living in the world and consumed with the drugs and the alcohol, I got kicked out at 19 for smoking weed and for drinking.
From your house with your parents?
Yes. And so subconsciously, I had created this promise and this lie to myself that as long as you are entertaining these behaviors, your family is not going to accept you. And I lived in LA, and so the lie was, I'm going to create this distance and these boundaries. I'm going to put these walls up so that they don't really know what I'm doing. And then when I go around them and I visit, I'm not going to partake in any alcohol or drugs or anything like that,
like so that
they think, I've still got it together or whatever.
Yeah.
And when I got sober, and then when I came back to Riverside, I've been sober for almost 4 years now, but the walls were still there. It was a learned behavior that I taught myself over years and years and years.
Yeah.
And it was something that I really, 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 really struggled with. Was I want to love my family, and I want to have a bigger part in their life, but I don't know how, because all I've known how to do the last 10 years is to completely alienate myself from them because of my behaviors. But now that I'm not doing these things, I didn't have the tools. And I would talk about it in men's groups. I went to this course over the summer where I cried about it with people that I didn't know. It's like, I'm so struggling with this so much. I want to bash these walls down and break them, but I don't know how. I don't have the tools. And the more of a role that my faith started to take in my life. The more church I showed up to, the more I got involved in these men's ministries, the more that I took part in my own activities with the Lord, prayer, reading the Bible, fasting, and helping out other people in their own walks. I really started to realize that there was a hole in my relationship with my family and that God was missing, and just started to plug that in and just started to plug in my faith. I started inviting them to church, and it's very difficult because of my mom's circumstances, but I got them both into church.
I was going to say, how's that going now?
Two weekends apart, for the first time in 15 years.
Amen.
And again, it's just for my dad, he loves football so much. He doesn't want to leave the couch while football's on. So his thing is like, let's talk about it in February. And I'm like, okay.
Hey, 6 o'clock service, football go on.
Yeah.
or Saturday, if it's...
That's true.
It's Saturday as well.
But he got there. I got my mom there for
good.
service, and that was great. And then after that, it felt a little stagnant for a while, and I felt like I still wasn't doing enough. And then I just felt a gentle nudge from the Spirit, like, hey, start praying with your mom.
That's awesome.
So I've been doing that with her every day. And then a few days after I started praying with her, I felt another nudge. Hey, go read your Bible with her. I said, dude, would you just give me some space? Like, give me some breathing room. I just started praying with her,
brother. Hold on.
And I remember I talked to a friend about it. Said, I'm admittedly a little bit nervous. This is a spiritual muscle that I have not exercised with my mom or my family in a couple of decades. And just like going to the gym for the first time, you're who's looking at me, you're a little insecure, and it's a little uncomfortable. But the more you go, the more you show up, the more you do this activity, the easier it gets, the more you enjoy it, and then you start to see the benefits in your life as a result. And we've been doing it for a few weeks now, reading the Bible and praying together. And I'm watching God dismantle this wall brick by brick. I'm trying not to get emotional because this is something that I prayed for so long, was to have a deeper connection with my mom. Because part of these walls that I built up to her because of her physical disabilities, she's on the way out. And I don't want to feel. That was my problem, and the reason for drinking and doing the drugs was because I feel so much. I have really big feelings that are intense. I'm a sensitive dude, and I don't want to feel anything when she's gone. I want to be able to let it go and have distance between her and I so that I can carry on with my life. But as I continue to get closer to the Lord, I felt convicted about that. That is wrong. That is not how you should be living your life. And now I'm just so grateful, because I used to think, my mind spins off in all these crazy directions. I used to think about having to be at her funeral and give this speech about, I wish I did more. I wish I showed up more. I wish I was a better son. I wish I just told her that I loved her more. Yeah. And now I don't have to do that. I can stand there and say, I took part. I loved her. I showed up, and I did the things, and I answered, and I showed up when God told me to. And it's such a beautiful thing.
It's awesome how our life has changed from where we used to be to where we are today. Because when I started to build a relationship with the Lord, I knew He was going to put me through the process of a big change, and that was learning that my dad was going to be leaving this earth. And when He started to take me into His arms, and I'm talking about God, and He started to show me the ropes to build a relationship with them, knowing that there was a change coming, because I would also have the same thoughts that you would. I would think about my dad. It was always my dad dying, my dad passing away. I would always have these thoughts. Like, I knew he was going to pass away before my mom did. But when it came to the point of starting to build a relationship with the God to prep me for the time that I was going to have to say goodbye to my earthly father, that's when I started to realize my relationship with God has allowed me to be receptive about I have a heavenly father. And now that my earthly father has taken off, I love him and I miss him, but it's never like to a point of a deep depression. Why? Because I was able to come to Christ to help me get through the process of losing my dad. Because there's grief, and still hurts. There's grief on both sides of the road. One of them is you do it on your own. It's dark, it's lonely. Or the other one, you do it by the hand of God, which is going to be a similar pain, but there's so much peace on it. And I'm glad I took that road, because now 4.5 years later, it's about to be 5 years in June that my dad took his last breath. It's also about understanding that when our parents leave, it's not just us saying goodbye, it's them being ready to take the next step into the next life. Because we're going to be there at some point. But we see it from our perspective, like, man, my dad passed away. But what about, like, man, I'm about to take my last breath. Like, I'm about to go meet the Lord. If you have accepted His salvation, you're going to be with Him. So what you're doing right now is you're not just giving yourself that peace of when your mom is going to take her last breath, is you're giving your mom the opportunity to say, I accept you, Lord, as my God and as my Savior.
That's right.
So that we know when your mom takes her last breath, God willing, a long time from now, she will be with them. Because what would happen if we don't accept His salvation? We know there's up and there's down, but we know at the minute we accept Him and we declare that Jesus is our King and our Savior, we're with them. We're with them. So what you're doing right now is not just for you, B. It's for your mom as well. Because you're bringing her closer to God so that when that moment comes, it's like she's going to see Him. She's going to stand by His feet. She's going to say, welcome home, good and faithful servant. And that is how He's using you to get to your mom, to build that relationship.
Yeah.
So you may not see it like that, but I don't know why I'm saying these words, but those are the words that are coming out right now.
Yeah, I do. I definitely do see it like that as an opportunity to reestablish a relationship that I know that she had in the past, and just watching it get to blossom again, and just pray with her over my family is it's just kind of crazy, like I haven't done that in so long, and it's just great. And man, it's so not me. It's not me.
No, it is you.
I mean,
you, man.
I'm showing up, but God, this is God. This is a direct result of the power of the Spirit and the power that we all have.
You're letting Him use you as a tool.
When we put that faith and trust in God, Romans 8:11 talks about how the same Spirit that raised Christ from the dead dwells in you.
Amen.
And that's huge. That's a lot of power. And when I can acknowledge that and invite it into my life, man, dude, limitless possibilities.
So you used to be in LA. We used to use alcohol. We used to use drugs. We came from a different lifestyle. When did the opportunity to become an entrepreneur? Because being a realtor, that's what it is. You're an entrepreneur. Did you always had that spark in your heart to do something on your own? Or when did that actually happen?
Yeah, I very much, after high school, I had no plans, had no idea what I was going to do. Again, fear took a huge part in my life and definitely took over. And I just kind of went where I got thrown and, moved to LA. I would never, ever do this again. But when I moved to LA, I sold as much stuff as I could. And shortly after I moved there, I had sold my car for some extra cash, $3,000 in my pocket. And this is in 2012. And I look back on that, and at that time, $3,000 was a good chunk of change, but that was such a leap of faith. If I ever talked to anybody today that was like, I have $3,000 and I'm going to go move across the country or to a different city, and I'd say, I love you, but let's plan a little bit more, because that sounds like a terrible idea.
Yeah.
But I did it and ended up in the restaurant industry and fell in love with it. And I honestly, Tony, I felt like I had struck a gold mine, because I fell in love with the restaurant industry so much, serving, cooking, and then I went down that road and was unfortunate and fortunate enough to be taught by this wild chef, ex-Israeli military.
Oh, really?
Yeah. He's very militant, and he's such a powerhouse. I love him. Shout out Chef Lior. And he was very naturally just a perfectionist. So that really was like peanut butter and jelly in the restaurant industry, because he could see things that other people couldn't. And so I didn't have a plan, and then that got thrust upon me, and I fell in love with it. And then that was also, talking about peanut butter and jelly, the restaurant industry and drugs and alcohol, are just the perfect combination, because all the people that you work with are just love debauchery. And I thought I found my people, thought I found my place, and just went with it for years and years and years and years and years. And man, it just burnt me out. And I knew the pandemic came around, everything stopped. I was blessed enough to still have a job and still get to work with these guys. But after that, there was a huge shift. and I realized I can't keep up with this. The more I got sober, the more I realized this just isn't for me anymore. I want to have, not to say that job afforded me an incredible life and an incredible lifestyle. I lived very well. I was taken care of. I did not have to worry about money, and I was able to do and go the things that I wanted to do.
Yeah.
And 2022, I just decided I just got to pick a direction and go with it. And I met this guy who was a real estate agent, had just moved here from Philadelphia, and was doing really well for himself. And he was charismatic and very kind and just very driven. And I saw that, and I could see a lot of myself in him. And we just started having conversations about real estate and what it looked like. And it was very overwhelming. I had no idea about anything. And it kind of took me under his wing a little bit. And then I just started going for it. And I think the next year was just planning, setting up the next step, saving money so that I could just jump into it. And that was just the direction that I chose. And if I could go back, I probably would have done things a little bit differently. Probably would have stuck with my job for a little bit longer.
Okay.
But I just wanted to get away from it. And I just ripped the Band-Aid off and just jumped full force into real estate. And my first year was just, man, wow, such a learning experience. Was really rough, tough. Didn't know what I was doing. And fast forward to where I'm at now, working with an investment firm, hunting them down deals, houses to flip, talking to real estate agents, talking to sellers, crunching numbers, underwriting deals, figuring out whether or not it's even something that we should be exploring. And it's crazy. It's so crazy, but it's also, making that jump back here to Riverside is also part of just fulfilling that plan, God's plan, whatever it is. And I'm here now. I have a better idea of my direction and my vision that I want for my future and what my career is going to look like. And I'm so incredibly grateful because the guys that I've gotten to work with have taught me this whole other side of real estate that most other agents are, no offense, are just kind of oblivious to, that they don't learn, they don't know about. They're working with buyers and sellers that want to buy their first house or, sell this house and move into that one. And that's all good and well. And it's a lot of work and it's very difficult, and you still need to be on your P's and Q's and know what you're doing and how to navigate it. The intricacies of the negotiations and all that is very, very challenging. Real estate agents work hard for their money.
They do.
And there's a reason that they get paid as much as they do when you're successful at it, because it's a lot of work. But working with these guys has just been a whole other direction that I didn't even see myself going. And I'm so grateful for it because it's fun. I really enjoy what I get to do. And there's still a lot of kicking and screaming on both sides when you're trying to get a deal done. And it's overwhelming and it's challenging at times. This week was just putting out fire after fire, but it's a lot of fun and it's very fulfilling. And I'm excited to see where the future goes.
So when you're looking for the property to flip, when you're looking for the opportunity to buy, and then you look into the opportunity to profit on it, how is that process for you? What are you looking for into a property for this development company? And no trademark secrets. There's something you can't say, don't talk about it. I mean, it's the industry, but it's something that you've learned.
Yeah. I mean, there's no secret to it. It's really condition and numbers. What does the house look like? How much is it going to cost to turn it around to be profitable? And then based off of the market in this area, what is maximum profitability? What does the market look like right there? Is it downshifting? Are we going to have to be more conservative on our price? Because we don't want it to sit on the market. The longer it sits on the market, the more costs that are associated with your loan that are coming out of your profit. So it's really, over the last few months, have been meeting a lot of, companies that do assignments where they'll get a house under contract that's, investor worthy, and then they'll sell it to you at a marked up price. And that's how they make their money. And then we make the money when we flip it, do the work and resell it. And, it's always send me pictures, send me the address, let me check the condition of the property, and I'll go through and just what's needed, floors, paint. I'll ask them questions about the electrical, the HVAC, the plumbing. Do we know anything? Like, is there a termite infestation? Anything like that, to really try to paint as clear a picture as I can on the exact dollar amount that needs to go into this house. And then we have spreadsheets with calculators, where we'll go in and punch in like, hey, if I buy this property at this price and I put this much work into it, and there's closing costs and loan costs and staging and every single dollar that goes into this process, is it going to be profitable at this number? And it'll punch out, how much money I'm making on the back end. And from deal to deal, if you're somebody that's just doing 1 or 2 flips a year, you're going to want to make more money on it, because that's your income. But if this is what you do as a flipper or as an investment firm, you're looking at your annualized return, which is going to be a smaller amount of money, which gives you more wiggle room on how much you can offer and how much you can put into the house. So there's a lot of that goes into it, but it's a lot of fun. And these guys have really, all last year was really getting this information into my head.
And that's what I was going to ask. How long has it been that you've been studying the industry? Because you're talking to me to me, you've been doing this for a minute, the way you're expressing yourself about it. But how long have you been learning and studying it? Because you've really been learning it.
Yeah. So all last year was huge learning curve for me. And just, 5-6 days of training a week.
So they have a good training process too, though.
Yeah. And we had coaching as well, outside coaching from other companies, learning their sales process, how to talk to these homeowners for these types of deals that we're looking for. And the biggest thing is just, in business, like, how can I provide value to this person and be authentic and come from a place of, let me help you, so I don't have commission breath when I'm talking to people. And that was something that was really difficult for me, because I worked in the restaurant industry where
you were used to cash
this was my domain right here, was these 4 walls, and everybody in it was under my command, and it's let's go. And it was not a sales job, it was push, make sure that the quality of the food you're providing is top notch, and make sure we get it out as fast as possible in good condition, tasting, looking, feeling the best that we can possibly produce. So it was a huge mental shift for me to come into this career, and it's been very trying. Honestly, if I had to go back and do it all over again, I would seriously probably explore some other ideas, just because it's, when you dive into something new, the expectation is you're not going to make very much money the first couple of years that you're doing it. And last year, the wheels finally started turning and the money started coming in. And I said, man, this is really possible. And I saw this post the last week, and it resonated with me so well. And it said, because so much of my life I was stunted my own growth because of fear and, just, I can't do that, I can't do this. But it says, faith and fear both call you to believe in something that you cannot see.
True.
And I said, damn, when I saw that.
Which one are you choosing?
Yeah, and these days it's so much more faith. I believe that these things are possible, and I won't stop trying until I'm told otherwise. And I wanted to share this, and I brought something to show for anybody that's listening that might be struggling with something similar in their business. Like, am I in the right path? Am I doing the right thing? Figuring out, like, God, is this where you really want me to be? Is this where my talents and my skills are being utilized to their fullest? But I over the holidays last year, I sat down with the COO of the company that I work for, and we kind of went over goals for 2025. And we were reading this book, Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. And I really like Napoleon Hill because he explores the power of the mind. And if you listen to a lot of his stuff on YouTube, like, he couples a lot of scripture with it. So the power of the mind and the power of God, and those are unstoppable forces. And so we were reading this book, Think and Grow Rich, and we were having this conversation while we were going over our goals for the year. And he told me about this exercise that he did, where he had written a check for some amount of money that he told himself, I'm going to make this. I don't know when, I don't know how, but this is going to happen. And he would keep it in his wallet, and he would look at it from time to time and remind himself of the journey and the path that he's on. I said, dude, that is really cool, actually. And there's this other guy, Earl Nightingale, who talks about the power of writing down your goals and your visions in your life, and keeping them close by and looking at them very often and reminding yourself, I'm doing these things to get here and then some. And there's so much power in that. And I went home and I wrote this check for this insane amount of money. I thought it was an insane amount of money, $35,000. And it's all tattered and torn because I kept it in my wallet for about 6 months. And I just thought, I don't know how, I don't know when this is going to happen, but
Close the bank account.
yeah,
Because the money's there now.
but I believe that this can happen. And last summer I sold a house, and I kid you not, the commission I got was $37,000 and 768. Yeah, so it was, and I pulled this check out and I said, "Wow, that's crazy. That's unreal." So I've got another check in my wallet right now for
What's the number on that?
$100,000.
Boom.
So, I know that when you put your mind to it and you put the grind to it, like things happen.
Yeah.
And plugging God into that, and every day that I go to work, every day that I'm out there in the field talking to people, if I'm door knocking, if I'm cold calling, it's like, God, just let me have the conversations you want me to have. I know there's tough people out there. Not everybody's going to like me. That's fine. I don't need that. I just need to have the conversations that are going to put me one more step forward today.
You said something, and I'm wondering that's what you were going to share, because you said you have something to share when you're asking God if I'm on the right path. Is this what you need me to do? Is that what you're going to refer to, having it written it down? Or what is that exercise to... One thing is to see, to bring the money into a reality, writing it down, your goals. But is this what you want me to do, Lord? How do you put those two together? Is it from me or is it from you, Lord?
I mean, that's nothing short of God.
Mm-hmm.
Sure, I showed up and I did the work, but the way that opportunity transpired, I mean, it seriously just came out of thin air. And it was just a friend calling me one day and was like, "I want to buy a house in LA and you're my guy." And I said, "Let's go." And I was not expecting that. Again, It just came out of thin air, and that's, I believe that was God 100%. And, I really, much less now, but those first couple years in real estate really struggled with a lot of anxiety and just questioning, God, is this where you want me to be? Mm-hmm. Please make it clear. I don't want to waste my time doing something that I shouldn't be doing. But I would continue to also pray for opportunities to bring him in to my career and the things that I would do. And, I'd do showings sometimes or open houses, and people come in and you start having conversations, and then, the truth comes out and people just kind of start telling you where they're at. And man, I've had so many great opportunities just from conversation to pray for people that are going through it, that are trying to sell their house and don't know where they're going next, or, they're just going through a really rough time financially and they have to sell this thing because it's just what they got to do to survive. And it's so awesome to get to experience that. I mean, shoot, even a couple months ago, I was just door knocking this neighborhood and just talking to neighbors, and this guy answers, and he looks like Santa Claus who had just gotten out of jail. I mean, he's full head of white hair, beard, and just, all tatted, just like me. Big smile. We start talking, and he's got this Route 66 tattoo on his neck, and he says, "You know what this means?" And I'm sitting there thinking like, okay, is this guy threatening me right now? What's going on?
You're on the wrong side.
Yeah, and I was like, I don't know, did you used to be a biker or something? And he says, "No. Well, I used to ride bikes, but no, that's not what it means. There's 66 books in the Bible. You can choose whatever path you want to go down in life, but at the end of the day, when you die, you're either going up or you're going down." I said, "Oh, okay, so you're a believer?" And he said, "I am." And then the conversation just kind of continued to unfold. The next thing I know, I'm inside and we're hanging out, and he's telling me his whole story about how him and his wife met, and we're praying together. And then 2 weeks later, I come back and we have dinner, and it's just so many times that...
How was that dinner? I remember you.
Oh, it was so good. It was great. Yeah, I made him a roast and some rice, and they loved it. And I was like, "You guys can keep the leftovers." And he was super, super excited. So, and we're pals. He'll text me from time to time, little really videos, and he's just got a wonderful ministry with his wife as well. And it's just so, man, he is a powerhouse of faith, and being around people like that really does something for me too. It shifts my mind of, as it just wipes away more of that fear that I live with, and just shows me that, like, man, living for Christ calls you to live boldly and confidently in the Lord. And man, I'm just so grateful for the opportunities like that I've gotten to experience Christ with other people in my field. And that's something that I prayed for, and is happening, you know. And that was something, an acknowledgement that I think God made, like, you're good. This is where you're supposed to be. Things might not be happening at the pace you want them to, or in the amount that you want them to, but you know, there's good work here to be done outside of the financial aspect, and I always have to remember that. And you know, there was even recently,
and before I lose this train of thought, and it's hard to do that. It's hard to do and stay true to God's calling of spreading the word when you're struggling financially. Because the doubts begin to come in, like, am I doing the right thing? Like, even like for me, like, I still ask him that question. Do you really need me to do this? Do you need me to keep on running this business? Or should I start to look at a different industry? Should I look into investing into something else just to make more money, while an industry is starting to pick up and coming back again, even though the business has been running for 10 years? Those are questions that I ask in myself. It's like, okay, is this what you need me to be? But then I remember as I'm listening to you talk to me, Bryan, is I've asked him for the same things, is let me talk to the right people. Let me make sure that I can share your word today, that I can just plant the seed with somebody else. And he's always done that, and he's always done that. In this office, so many people have come in when I'm not even expecting them to come. I don't have an appointment, but people have walked in, and I'm like, we don't have an appointment, because my schedule it's constantly blocked, and I really watch my schedule. 3-4 times people have come in here that they were not in the schedule. The Lord just tells me, hey, relax. You can take 20-30 minutes. We start talking for about an hour and a half, and we're talking about the Lord when they needed to hear the message. So he does keep on bringing the people into this office, and he keeps on bringing the opportunities to share his message. But am I going to keep on doing it even though the money could be better? Like, I mean, this is the faith. It's like, this is the path that I have for you. Yeah. Even though financially you're not where you wish you could be, but show me that you're willing to walk my path. He's still providing for everything that we need, you know. But it's questions that I've been asking myself lately, to the point that I've been considering opening up a side gig, investing in getting some 20-yard bins and getting a gooseneck and getting a trailer, and then just pick up loads and dumping them up to make extra cash. But then to me, it's like, okay, that's just me chasing the money instead of chasing what he's doing here in this office. And you're talking to me right now as you're answering a prayer that I've been asking for. Am I in the right place? Yeah, because every chance I get, look at what's happening. And I tend to forget these things because we're struggling financially. We want to make sure that we're making ends meet. And not only we want to get through it, we want to succeed. But then once again, when we start to succeed again, are we going to make the same mistakes that we did in the past when the money was flowing? Yeah. It's like, okay, right. You are in the right track. I need you to be here. But I need you to be faithful, and I need you to be patient, and I need you to stop getting distracted, because that's hard to do when we're struggling financially. Yeah. So you just answer a prayer that I've been asking for. Yeah, that's good, man. That's powerful. And, you know, I think back on, you know, my days in the restaurant industry and the things that I went through, and, man, I had such a cushion, because it was like, all I got to do is show up, do my job, and it just became Groundhog Day every day, where it was just the same things. And sure, it was very physically demanding, but mentally, emotionally, I was used to it. And you know, I'm collecting a check, and now I look at where I'm at, and man, if you are an entrepreneur and you are struggling, man, entrepreneurship coupled with faith, you'll be all right. You'll be good, because when you know that God provides, and he is your support to lean on, and you can trust him through all things, man, that has absolutely transformed how I go about my business and how I'm able to go about my business and show up even when I'm stressed out or worried or pissed off or lose a deal, whatever it is. It's like, okay, you know, dust your shoulders off and keep going. This is what it takes, you know. And you had sent me this video, this really powerful video too. This guy was talking about a farmer who waits for perfect conditions, you know, never plants. Yeah. And a farmer who watches every cloud, never harvests. Yeah. And
you have to show up. You have to do the work. There are no I'm sure there's shortcuts, but they're not going to benefit you in the long run.
Yeah.
And when it comes to being successful in whatever you want to do, if you want to be the best at it, you have to willing to give it your best.
Yeah.
And that requires a lot of discipline, and it also requires a lot of faith in yourself. And I have learned that trusting in God throughout that process too, man, like he shows up. And there have been times where I have had my cages rattled, and I'm about to throw in the towel. And I get on my hands and my knees and my face on the ground, and I'm praying, and I'm asking God, please, I'm an idiot. Give me a clear sign, give me a very tangible
that I know
sign,
that's a sign
that is just irrefutable evidence that I am doing the things that I'm supposed to be doing. And I can honestly say I did that one time, and I almost don't want to share it because it was such a beautiful moment where I really felt like God showed up in my life. But I had that experience, and I was stressed out, and I got a phone call the very next morning. I did that right before I went to bed, and I was like, God, am I where you want me to be? Because if I'm not, I seriously need you to tell me.
Yeah.
I need you to tell me, because I'm really struggling with this. And the very next morning at 8:30 in the morning, I got a phone call as I'm getting ready. Boom. And it was a deal on the line. And I was like, okay. Maybe it's just for now, I don't know, but I trust that if this is no longer what you want me to do, at some point you'll make it clear. But for right now, that was enough for me to carry on.
And sometimes that's the sign. There's no sign. You're asking for a sign if this is the right thing, or you need me to do something else. If he's not giving you a sign to do something else, you just got to stick to what you're doing already. Maybe sometimes that's the sign. If I've been asking, should I do something different? What should I do? He hasn't shown me otherwise. But me, my human nature is thinking about doing something different to subsidize income.
Right.
So I'm thinking to do something else. But as I'm asking him, if he hasn't shown me the sign, then why am I keep on looking somewhere else? Keep on focusing on where he has you, and be grateful and have faith that it's going to pay out. Because he's given me 2 signs that I can remember, and one of them was a phone call. And I think I shared this with you. First sign that he ever gave me very clear, it was when Wendy and we broke up. And I was already tired of living the lifestyle that I used to live. And I remember I going to church without even listening to the message, but I'm asking God, and I'm telling him, God, please send me a woman that I can settle with, that I no longer want to live this lifestyle of whatever I was doing at the time. And I ask him, but make sure that you give me a sign. And when I know that that's a sign and this is the girl that you have for me, I promise you, I will take it and I will walk it. But I need to know the sign, that I'm watching the sign. Not even a second later, my phone rings. I'm at church. I get my phone, and it's Wendy. It's my wife. I'm like, dude, seriously? Her? First, because we were broken up. And I said, that quick? Hey, you promised me you were going to walk the sign. You were going to walk the path when I gave you the sign. I answered the phone call and said, hey, let me call you back at my church. Hang up. I get out of church. We get together. She tells me, I need help to buy a car. Can you come and help me? We go. I help her to buy the car. She gets all dolled up, looking pretty to go buy a car. I'm like, what are we doing?
She's trying to get a good deal, bro.
She got a good one. But to me, it's like he gave me the sign that I was looking for. And I walked it. And I did what I promised him I was going to do. We're blessed with 2 daughters. We have a business that is providing for everything that we need. That was the first time he gave me a clear sign. And I'm glad I walked it. Second time, this is recent, this past year. Same thing. I'm walking, I'm on my own on Victoria in the evening time. It's one of those days. I just needed to go for a walk. And I'm asking him, God, please give me a sign that I'm doing the right thing. I don't know if this is what you want me to do, if you want me to keep on running this business, if you want me to do something else. I am eager to keep on spreading the word and keep on sharing my testimony. But how do I do it? How do I stop working? I don't want to become like the rich guy that didn't live his work because he didn't want to follow you. He was afraid to lose it. I don't want to be that guy. But how do I know if I'm doing the right thing? He didn't give me this. And I asked him, let me see a shooting star. Please, let me see a shooting star that I know I'm doing the right thing. And I'll keep on doing it. Well, he didn't give me a shooting star that day. 5 weeks, 6 weeks later, I'm driving back from softball with my family. We had softball. Jay had practice. We're driving back. Whew, I see it. And right away, first thing that came to my heart is like, that's the sign. I'm doing the right thing. Is I'm spending time with my family. I'm present with them. I'm not stuck in the office all day long. Maybe I don't have all the things, materialistic things that I wish I had. But man, I have a family that loves me. And that was the sign. And I knew that was what it was, because he told me, it's like, there you are. Look at where you're driving from. Look at what you're having the opportunity to do. You were working somewhere else. You were doing something else. You wouldn't have this freedom to be with your family. You're getting the opportunity to share my message, to record testimonies. But I need to remember, and it's just hitting me right now, it's like I'm in the right path. He hasn't given me a sign to do something else, because he doesn't need me to do something else. He just needs me to have faith that this boat is going to change. These lives are going to continue to be touched. Seeds are going to continue to be spread. Opportunities are going to continue to happen in this industry, in this boat. But I have my sign that I have everything that I've been praying for. And those are the two signs that I know that's exactly what I ask him. And it happens as I'm simply spending time with my family. But it still happens. I'm with my family. What do you think I'm thinking? Business. Oh, I need to do this. I need to pay this bill. That. You're with your family. This is the sign. Enjoy it. Because it's not going to last forever.
Yeah.
You know, so when you ask for the signs and you have faith, he'll give them to you. And sometimes the sign is not a sign. It's a sign to keep on doing. He has you where you need to be. Because when I pray for a sign of do I need to do something else? I don't see the sign. What do you think that means?
Yeah.
You are where I needed you to be. Being okay with it and accepting it and walking in and doing it. That's the difference.
Man.
That's
good.
He made himself present right now. He just answered a lot of prayers that I've been having, so.
That's good.
I'm glad you're here.
Yeah, me too. Me too. You know, that makes me think of even I look back on my life so many times when I was not praying, I was not involved in faith in any way, man. I was like running in the complete opposite direction. I was trying to die, and dude, it was just, I was like playing bumper cars with death. Like I couldn't make the full impact and would just bounce, like God was the bumper and kept saving me. And it's just a beautiful thing to see that, even because I've had friends that have died from less, and I'm like, why am I here?
Why am I still here?
You know, and to see that God is faithful even when we aren't, and you can look back on your life and see where he has shown up and how his hand has always been in everything. And it's our own ideas, our own doubts, our own fears, and our own choices that often mislead us in a completely different direction than he would have us go. And that's the beauty of faith, is knowing that, man, even when things just absolutely suck and you're not enjoying them to the fullest, man, God is there in that, and he still loves you. And it's not a forever thing. Like, man, these experiences, these circumstances that we have that come up with finances, with family, with friends, whatever it is, are so temporary. And it's like not long from this moment in the future, you're going to look back and say, man, I was good. I was good then. Everything was fine. I just couldn't see it because I was so caught up in this.
In the moment.
And that, man, it's a beautiful thing. Glad to be here.
I'm glad you're here, brother.
Yeah.
You know what? To kind of wrap it up, there's a lot of people that have gone through our past, that have dealt with alcohol, with drugs. We dealt with it. But he has saved us. But for somebody like yourself with your testimony, looking at the camera, somebody who's fighting it right now, they're still fighting the drug, the alcohol, and they're doubting to go to AA meetings. What's the words that you will share? That the Lord, you know the words that the Lord wants you to share. For those that are watching that you're dealing with this.
Man, that's a tall order. That's a big question to answer. Man, I'm it's a loaded question, bro. But if you're really struggling, really struggling, and you really want change in your life, you know, it's if you could have done it by now, you would have. You know, if you could have done it by now, you wouldn't be struggling still. And you cannot beat yourself into getting better. And, you know, I have this bracelet on my wrist that says God's will. And then on the other side, it says, I surrender. And it wasn't until I threw in the towel and I fired myself from everything that I started to see that change. And it all just started from being ready to just be completely honest, to walk into a room full of people that I didn't know anybody, but I knew that this was, you know, where people who struggle go. That's all I knew. I didn't know what was going to happen, nothing. And I just admitted, like, I'm an alcoholic. And then I just got honest about everything that's been happening in my life as a result of my choices. And it was weird. People responded with love and positivity and were excited. You know, I'm like, never in my life have I ever seen somebody get excited about me admitting that my car just got impounded and my girlfriend just dumped me and I'm about to lose my job and my power got shut off at my apartment because I haven't been paying the bill and I haven't had a sober breath in, 6 years. Why are people getting excited about that? But it's because they know the possibilities when you're ready to just let it go. So just let go, find some people that you can get honest with and don't look back. Keep being honest. It's okay if you make a mistake. It's okay if you mess up. It's not about perfection. It's just about continuing to be honest. And it wasn't until I was fully ready to be honest that things actually started to change. So those would be my words, just be honest. It's okay. If you're at the point you're at, there's probably a lot of people in your life who have been waiting for you to change. So when they see that you're willing and ready to be honest, man, it's going to be a good day for them and it's going to be a good day for you. And the possibilities are so limitless when you're ready to throw in the towel and try something else for a change.
Can they reach out to you if maybe they don't feel comfortable to go to AA, but maybe they have the connection with you? Can they come and hit me up on Instagram, send me a message?
100%. That is, I love talking to people that are ready to be honest and maybe they're just curious about getting help. What does that look like? What do I need to do? I don't know where to start, whatever it is. For me, AA is what worked and it still works, but I couple that with my faith in Jesus Christ. Amen. And I know a lot of people that AA has only been their only thing and it still works. And it's more about restructuring your life in a way that you now have tools you're equipped with that help you to navigate through the curveballs, the trials, and all the reasons that you give yourself to drink or use drugs. You now have an opportunity to say, man, this thing really bothered me. Instead of drinking, I'm going to go do this and instead. I'm going to write this down. I'm going to call somebody. I'm going to go to a meeting. I'm going to get honest about it and talk about the fact that it made me feel uncomfortable. Whatever it is, there's so many different options. But yes, I'm 100% a resource. I'm sure my Instagram will be tagged in this. Don't be shy about messaging me. A huge part of my recovery nowadays is also helping out other men that are looking for help and are trying to stay sober. And I love to do it. I wish I could do it full time, but I think that's the beauty in doing it, is that it was freely given to me, and it's in return will be freely given to others. So absolutely, call me, text me, message me.
That's awesome.
Let's have a conversation if you're ready to check something out, and if you want to go try a meeting, if you just want to have a conversation, absolutely.
Awesome, brother. I'm glad you're willing to do that. And the last question. What are the 3 core values that Bryan Clark lives by?
Yes, I'm single.
All right, that's his core value. Not for long, ladies. Hit him up. The Tatted Realtor, the Tatted Agent.
What are the 3 core values that
you live by? Your 3 core values now.
Man, that's a really good question. My 3 core values are just honesty, for sure. I mean, that was the transformative mechanism in my life that really made the biggest shift in my life. Love God, serve God, love others, serve others. That's it.
Amen. Sir, I'm glad you came.
Me too,
I really
bro.
am, brother. Thank you so much for coming here.
Yes,
Love you, man.
good.
Appreciate you. Love you, man. There we have it, everybody. Another legacy podcast recorded, man.
First one of the year.
First one of the year.
What an honor. Thanks
It's going
for
to be
having
an
me on,
awesome
man.
story when you're blessed with kiddos. Man, this is going to be recorded. They're going to be able to see who their dad used to be, how their dad changed. And they're going to be able to have this confirmation when he's 33 years old. And there's plenty of life coming for you, man. You're not done yet.
That's right.
You're not ready to check out. The Lord's going to have a lot of work for you to do here, man.
Amen.
And you're already doing it. And I see it. You know, everything that you're moving with these communities and the men's group and the walks. You have a lot of work, man.
That's right.
Because He gave you an amazing testimony to share. So I'm very grateful that you helped me be a part of it, to record it, and for the whole entire city of Riverside to watch. So until then, this podcast is sponsored by Little Financial and TG Consulting. Thank you for taking the time. God bless.
Have a good day, everybody.